they called it the Dark Ages.
And really, the historians call it the Dark Ages.
Why do you think they completely missed that part out of history? They jump from the Roman history, because I went to school, obviously, and they jump from Romans all the way to World War I and II. They completely missed that whole gap, and they call it a period of ignorance.
Well,
you know why? Because they know it was us that was ruling. That's why they don't want to talk about it.
Right,
they put a big question mark.
We was ruling in Africa. We had the Wagadu Empire, we had the Mali, we had Timbuktu, we had Kanembo, we had the Great Zimbabwe. We had plenty of black African civilizations that weren't knocking about in Europe. Except for Islamic, more expansion into the Iberian
That's
Peninsula.
what I'm saying.
But even then, before that, we were doing our own thing. And that's cool. Even with the Kanembo, you can talk about the King of Mali, you can talk about Ashanti, Benin, all of them things. We were doing our own things, making our own sewage systems, second story building, universities that we were turning away Moroccans from because it was all too advanced. A Moroccan man came to Mali in the 13 or 1400s, can't remember which, said I want to teach here, and the university said you're not qualified enough to teach here. We were doing our own things. We have the Timbuktu manuscripts. People in Mali today have manuscripts from not only in Arabic, but translated into local languages. Now we are doing our thing. I'm not on this like the King James is black, because we can see the lineage of who the people were marrying and how that was causing Hassan starting war over these small situations. Go on.
Look, enough talking, man. First Maccabees 3:48, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. It's called whitewashing, bro. It's called
iconoclasm.
It's called iconoclasm. Do a little bit of research, man. We're telling you this, but it's not for us to tell you. You go away and do your research. What is iconoclasm? It's the breaking down of historical images where the so-called white man is trying to insert himself. Because he's only been ruling for like the past 350 years? So there's a long period where he wasn't in power and he wasn't in rulership. So he's lied about history in order to make you think we've always been in power.
Trying to change the narrative of history.
Because if you knew this white man's real history, you'd be looking at him like, why should I respect your piece of shit?
That's why if you look at even Putin himself, a lot of the time when he's standing, he's got the church icons behind him and they're all black. And they're all black. So all the church fathers, they knew it was us. The founders of Roman Catholicism was us. It was all us. The popes and the priests, it was us. Esau took that over during, when he started coming up into power, man. But you're talking about, the Tudors, the Stuarts. You look at the coats of arms of throughout Europe, Russia, Germany, Switzerland, Poland, in Britain, Hibernia, which is the ancient name for Ireland, Scotland. It was us in power. It was all us. That's what I'm trying to say. Like King James and them. Stuart means comes from the word Swadi, which means black. The word Stuart comes from the word Schwarz. It's a German word Swadi. It means black. So it was all us. Stuarts were black. It was all us. The Tudors were us.
King James' son called Black Boy.
Exactly, Black Boy. There's all the statues of Negroes.
Yeah, bro. Like
even if you look at the Queen, the medallion that she had, it was all of them putting their foot on Jake, man. Yeah. That's how they got into power, by putting us down.
With because I do know my history, because with the specifics, with the split coats of arms, and within several pieces from, I'm talking about pre-Reconquista, before when the Muslims had border control over the Iberian Peninsula, what we call Spain and Portugal today. What you're saying, obviously, that is where we had a lot of African presence within the medieval period, both Dark Ages and Renaissance. But what you're saying don't make no sense, because if the people were dark-skinned like us and somehow also painting pictures of paler people or simultaneously go into a war.
I ask you a question.
Go on.
When the so-called white man shows Egyptians in movies, what colour does he make?
He makes them his whitewashing them.
So Why is it so hard for you to get your head around the fact that he's done it again without history in Europe?
Easy, because there's a clear timeline from what we can see. Yeah. So let's go from like literally from the.
No, but what's the difference?
The difference is the timeline. Bro. When listen, yeah. When you have loads of travelers, yeah, Dutch, English, Arabic, all go around Africa saying that, oh, I went to Shabu, they had this, they went to this, we had that. When the Portuguese came to the Congo Kingdom in around the Congo Basin, yeah, they were talking about, the king is like this, the square is like that, the town is like this, the capital is like this. No negative connotations. Now you have Christopher Columbus. He goes over. He thinks he's in Asia. He starts conquering the thing.
That's not true. He knew where he was going.
Whether
in
he
1492, he knew where he was going.
Okay.
How did he know where he was going?
Whether he
Let me
knew.
ask you a question.
Sorry.
How did Columbus knew where he was going because he took Hebrew translators with him, right? How did
Hebrew translators?
He took Hebrew translators with him when he went to America.
An Italian Genoese sailor. An Italian Genoese sailor channeling a sea of crew of boats from Spain. Mind you, the Spanish had kicked out all the Jews. Where was he getting people translators? A Spanish king sent that, and the Spanish king kicked out all the Jews when they conquered.
How did Columbus know where he was going?
Sorry?
How did Columbus know where he was going? Because the lie that is told is that he discovered the Americas, but they already knew where America had not been discovered by Columbus. It's King Solomon knew where America was, right? But Columbus knew that there were Israelites in the Americas. They were his company.
Because he knew about the book of Ezra.
Second Ezra.
He knew about Ezra. He was quoted that. Even the movie director, he made that movie 49.
That was a terrible movie.
No, they even
Inaccurate movie.
even Columbus even quoted Ezra. So they knew about the books of the Apocrypha. He knew when he was traveling, and he knew who was there at the destination point. He knew that the other tribes would be there. He knew where he was going. He wasn't know like he didn't know where he was going. He knew that other Israelites, the other tribes.
Well, let's look at the timeline real quick. Reconquistas happened here. The kingdom of Catalan and the kingdom of, I can't remember the other name, married, they became Spain, Portugal started existing, blah, blah, blah. When that happened, the Spanish Inquisition happened. They were kicking out all the Muslims, they were kicking out all the Jews, they were checking people's bloodlines. They were saying, if you're not going to convert, get out. They found people convert who pretended to convert in secret, but that's the religion in secret. Sorry?
That's what Esau was coming out.
Whether we was coming back into power or not, where were these like Hebrew translators then? Because if you were a Jew and you were in Spain speaking Spanish or blah blah blah, and people, because obviously you were neighbours with some of these Christians and Muslims beforehand. It wasn't 100% Muslim when the Iberian Peninsula was completely dominated. There were Christian and Jews living there. They were kicking everyone who was not a Christian out. The neighbours were ratting on them because the Reconquista happened and they were being tortured if you weren't Christian. So how is... Sorry?
Who are the real Jews and who are the real Christians? What does the word Jew even mean? No, don't tell him. Because he's got all the stories just coming up and talking about the notes. Let's find out how much he knows. So
what does the word Jews mean? I lost. What does the word Jews mean?
Alright, so let's go on to some other aspects of what is coming out as spouting is historical evidence and facts, as if you know some shit. What else are you saying?
I'm saying the timeline don't make sense, and because what's it called? You're saying that
okay. So when did the Holy Roman Empire exist?
When did the Holy Roman Empire exist? Are you talking about like the German kingdoms mixed with the Italian kingdoms, or you're talking about post, Constantine Empire? Hold up, bro. So it's also a little. Watch out.
Because we could go back and forth all day, right? But this is basically just words going nowhere, so let's get to the point. The point of the matter is that Jake was in rulership in Europe.
Jake meaning us, Jacob.
Israelites were in power in rulership for a long period, during a lot of the times when we were saying before it doesn't make sense, the timeline doesn't add up. The reason why it doesn't make sense is because mainstream history is not going to teach you the truth about your history, because they don't want you to know that you had a history of kings and great lineage. Like, they want you to just think, oh, you're just some niggas that were taken on a boat from Africa.
Yeah, exactly. My history isn't rooted in Europe.
No, but your
it's
people,
rooted in like Ashanti.
No, but
I know
your
my
people go
lineage.
beyond Ashanti. There's 12 tribes, bro. It's not just about the Ashanti. It's not just about the Ghanaians. You need to start thinking bigger than that. You know, like you got Latinos, the Mexicans. There are people, the Argentinians, you know, the Puerto Ricans.
The Argentinians got rid of a lot of their black people. Bro.
Yeah, they did.
They did. Well, no, there's still some black
They
Argentinians.
did, but that goes part of the prophecy where your eyes shall be evil towards your brother, and Judah still vexes Ephraim, and Ephraim still vexes Judah. It's a deep history. You won't get into the Bible to understand it. But we're not going to go into that all now. The point I'm just trying to show you is that mainstream history is lied to you about the history of the world. Like, for example, I went to an exhibition in the British Museum a couple of years back, where it was of these sculptures that have been made by so-called black people. And they literally said in the exhibition that these sculptures are hidden because they didn't want to show that our people had any kind of intellectual
Yeah,
capacity.
the Benin
to create
bronzes. They said Arabs built them and all
exactly.
manner of
So they
explanation.
lie.
Yeah.
So the point is that the reason why I said about I said something else as well about them lying about who the Egyptians were, like portraying them as certain white people. It's no different to today. It's no different to the history of Europe. That's a big history that they don't want the world to know, because basically Esau's strength comes from lies. And if you look, man, no lies are the truth, and the truth is what's going to set you free. If you can keep thinking that, oh, so-called black people, they're nothing but monkeys. They just came here on slave ships, they're not productive, they don't do nothing. We're the most productive people on the earth. We're the former of all things. But it's no good to just walk around saying, yeah, man, I'm a king. You need to get into the scriptures, man. Understand what a king-like mentality is. And get out of this mentality of, oh, well, I'm going to the National Gallery and I see all these white people on the wall, so the Europeans must be white. No, that's bullshit, man.
Bro,
That's just propaganda.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But this is the thing. When I'm talking about the timeline, I'm talking about a series of events leading to a series of another events, right? So boom, we can dispute about the whole Columbus thing however you want. The point is, as a matter of fact, the Spanish Empire, they came through, Aztecs, Mayans, etc., started deading them all off, started doing slavery. The other Europeans caught wind. When you see that gap between the 1600s and the 1800s, or the 1600s, 1700s, you see the slow transition of them saying, oh, the black man's inferior, oh, the black man never did this, we're going to come into this thing, we're going to burn up Ashanti, we're going to tear down the walls of Benin, we're going to do all of them things there. So when you see that, you can see them of saying, oh, black people are curse of Ham. Oh, black people, no, they can't, they're obviously not, they're the beast of the land. Oh, black people this, oh, black people that. That came within the transatlantic slave trade, putting our people down, coming to Ashanti, coming to Benin, burning all our things, saying we never built nothing, saying history don't exist except past slave ships and even then, like you look now, past 2 years, you see a couple African movies. Before, all the white man think about Africa is what they see in Zululand. But we have more history than that. Right. But you can see where the hatred bleeds into, and like it's like man them got drunk and we're dealing with the hangover. See, man, they came to Africa, they said, oh, we're gonna do the slavery thing. They went through loops and holes to justify it, even though there was no justification that, oh, these men aren't really human, oh, they don't feel pain, all these things.
Explain the white man's takeover.
Yeah, the white man started doing that, and from the point, from the transatlantic slave trade, from the point of Christopher Columbus, that's when you see the transition. That's when you see the documents start changing. That's when you start seeing traders going here, oh, I came here for ivory. No, I came here, there was nothing. You see what's it called, not even a paradigm, an inclusive point where you see, oh, they were doing this, so they started doing this in unison. Before the Columbus thing, the words that other people had when interacting with Africa were borderline positive, if not average. It's like, oh, these people do this, they do that. Like when the even back in like antiquity times, you know the the flipping ancient Greeks, right? Oedipus, not Oedipus. What's that story called with Homer and the Finn? Homer and Iliad and the Odyssey, yeah? How did the Iliad and the Odyssey start with them having more respect for black people? Because the Greek word for black person was Ethiopian, like of the burnt face. That's how they described Indians as well. Just people who are darker than us. When the Odyssey starts, yeah, the gods are dining with man. Yeah? When they are dining with man, they're not in Rome. Rome was not a thing. Remus and Romulus were probably out there being raised by a wolf, whatever the fuck the Romans came up with. They're not even in Athens. They're not in Egypt. They are in Ethiopia itself, dining with the Ethiopians. Because before this whole Atlantic slave trade thing, they had a good, they had a good relation with the black people in them and the Persian people in them. Obviously they went to war and such things and that. But you see that when they start the Odyssey with the gods of Greece dining in Ethiopia with man, the kings of Ethiopia, they were saying. That's a clip, and there's also their points in wrong. The point is, back in the day, you can go through all the accounts of when they had interactions with darker skinned people. They never had nothing negative to say. But when they started doing the slave thing, when they started transitioning to being like, if you got darker skin, you're inferior. Even when they went to do war with the Chinese, saying the Chinese, who had a civilization, the time that's old as the time was Rome, they were barbarians. They call the Chinese barbarians because if you're not white, you're fucking inferior. That is the point of the timeline. So when you're saying that, oh, this king was black and this king was black, this king was black, and they're trying to hide it, it don't make sense because that was.
You do know that we was interfering with white people.
Yeah, we're interfering with actual going to war, interfering with.
When we say they're black, they were Israelites, but a lot of them did go through the mix.
The point is what I'm saying, that they're trying to hide it. There's no cause for them trying to hide it. Pre the transatlantic thing. Do you get it? So I'm seeing that there's a disconnect right there. That they're trying to hide this, and the House of Stuart was this, and the House of Tudor and Lancaster and York was that, because they would have no need to hide it before that, before the War of Roses, before the Viking expansion.
Okay, what they're saying makes sense.
Yeah.
But the point,
it's like we're getting into all this stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's not really edifying, is it? You got it, Elton. You took it.
I'm trying to do all this gospel. I'm trying to do this people. But I hear what you're saying and everything like that. But that's your own little thing. But there's not really you're coming with it. We do know, as a matter of fact, we look at the coat of arms. We rule this place. So we do know it was us in power, the government, the House of Parliament, all that was us. That was us. So you know, the Tudors, the Stuarts, that was us, man. Talk about King Henry VIII, that was us. That's why they made a movie about one of his wives being black and stuff like that. It was Anne Boleyn. They're just trying to get around the idea that Henry VIII was one of us. He was a Jake, right? Those are our people, the Tudors and the Tudors was us. It's Esau put himself there, and you go to primary school thinking that it was them. It weren't them, it was us. Okay, that's who translated the whole Bible. Okay, from the English, from the Hebrew and the Greek into the English. But anyway, you know, where is he? I don't even know anymore. I'll get Isaiah 24. Because out of all of this, at the end of the day, this is what really matters, man. Okay. When it goes into the earth shall rule to and fro like a dragon. You know what that is?
Yeah, I'll just find that. Right, so this is Isaiah 24, starting at verse 20.
Because if you see, we're going to go into the whole destruction of things, but if you see what's happening around the earth, they're trying to institutionalize a famine. They're buying up all the farmland in America. You see certain food storages getting burned up all of a sudden out of nowhere. Egg farms are being destroyed now. People can't buy eggs. They're killing off all the cows, the lamb, the chickens. So they're manufacturing a famine, scarcity of food. Right? So we're coming to an end. Okay, and this is all in the scripture. On this count.
Isaiah 24, verse 19. The earth is utterly broken down.
It is next verse. So he can walk to again like a bird. Yeah. Next verse goes into it. I'll start at 19.
Right. Isaiah 24 verse 19. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro.
Wait. You was even on that. It was Psalms 149.
Yeah, we'll be like, okay, well, what's the guarantee?
Remember, because the man said, he said he had a problem with vengeance. We're going to go into that.
So,
Yeah, I wanted to bring up this scripture. Can I bring up this? Right? The scripture is gone now. Because he said he had a problem with God. He took the servant God that does evil things, whatever. Yeah? 2 Thessalonians, verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with your Lord to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. That's what I wanted to bring up here.
He's one of many of our ones that come like that. The second we say anything about vengeance is like, you know, this whole city feeling, I can't do something like that. But they're gonna pay, man. I don't know why a nigga can't get his head round them. They have to pay.
say that again. What are you saying?
Why Jake can't get their head round like these are the pay?
It's not that. And I'm not saying that disrespectfully, but
I mean, he might think he have a lot of knowledge in his boat, but ultimately, if he doesn't have this knowledge, he's still going to be destroyed with all that shit he has.
Can I say something else, Dom? Can I say something and confess something? Yeah, you brothers going to agree with me. I'll tell you something else, Dom, right? Knowledge is beautiful, but you can see when he came, he was puffed up. He was puffed up.
Yeah.
He wanted to tell you, brothers, in other words, you're talking shit. That's why brother came to tell him, say, you're talking shit. Right? Alright? Now, I'm going to tell you something. Knowledge is a beautiful thing, brothers. Right? But sometimes you could be so fucking bugged out with it. It's all about, we just preaching the fear of the Lord. At the end of it, it's a fear. Because he turned around and said that he's not going to serve a Lord that with slavery and blah. I would rather, to be honest, I'll tell you something, right? Knowledge is beautiful, but I'd rather be in my position what I know, the little thing I know, than to be that all that knowledge he has there. There's one or two things he's saying is okay. Don't get you agree with a fraction of what he's saying, but that man, he's still lost.
exactly.
He's still lost, right?
If I may say something.
I'm not disputing that knowledge. I'm not
He
disputing.
was even wise because his argument was serving to him didn't make any sense. That's why I didn't really want to talk too much because he's talking to edification. But the point is, like, he's still saying, oh, I don't see why they would have to lie about King James being black because pre-Columbus relations between Ghanaians and Europeans was good. Of course it was good because we were still in rulership. But the point I was making is that we came out of rulership and that we were put into subjection by our enemies, and that's when the line started.
And that's what that nigga don't understand is that, you know, you had Jake persecuting Jake.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because the guy recognizes himself as a Jew, or Jake recognizes himself as a Christian, they're both the same. And even the one that's persecuting both of them, they're still Israelites. It's just like, for example, you had the Holy Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire. Then you had Jakes in Israel still saying that they're Jews. And you had a bunch of other Jakes thinking that they're Muslims. And they were all against one another. So, you know, he's talking about, oh yeah, see, they kicked the Jews all out. Yeah, they kicked out niggas that actually believed that they were Jews. But then the guys that thought they were Muslims, they were still there persecuting their own people. So he nigga figured out, oh, they're different. No, they were the same people.
If I say one more thing, brothers, if I could say one more thing in the spirit, he's got a crackerish kind of spirit.
Yeah, he does.
He's like a fucking cracker.
You can tell.
And as soon as the other white guy come up, he was puffed up when that white man came up. You know
He
what
was as a cigar, man.
Yeah,
King
yeah.
James was, he was black.
He got puffed up when that man came up. I sense he's got a fucking cracker spirit on him. I'm not judging to say
No,
he's-
I saw it too.
You saw it too.
But yeah, you know, the spirit was preventing me from telling him what happened. I don't know what it was, man. I thought he was a demon. But anyway, Sarah, this is what you were saying. What you were saying about I'd rather have these people be than all of that. The Sarah 19, verse 24. He that have small understanding and fear of the Most High is better than one that have much wisdom
Yeah, no, he does not.
and transgresseth the law of the Most High.
That's it.
You know? So it's better to have this mustard seed, and all you know is this little mustard seed, than having all this knowledge about the earth, the atoms, and how the gravity got here and all that shit, but he don't believe in the Most High. You know what I mean? Better to be of a small understanding, but fear the Most High. You know? Than having all of this. Because the prophets, when they came out, we don't profess to know anything. All we knew was prophecy. You had a lot of man them coming up here saying professing that not professing this. I really didn't know nothing that they were talking about. But all we knew was this. And that was their stubbornness though. Because they were like, see, you talk all this prophecy, but then you don't know nothing about the atoms and the mountains and the oceans and the animals. Yeah, we don't know nothing about that shit. But all we know is prophecy. That's the main thing. That's what's going to bring your salvation, man.
Elder, if I could just add again, right? You see, this truth is a beautiful thing, yeah? Because we've discussed these things from the apostles come down. The mere fact he said that King James is a so-called white man. He's not a black man. What did he say?
He said that King James wasn't black.
That's it. That is a stumbling block from straight away. Stumbling block, right? And we've been through these things. I tell you something, we've been through so much things from the apostles come down.
It is stupid.
Yeah.
It is mad as hell. See, the Jews don't got kicked out. They all got kicked out. So how the hell could he have people trying to... Because he doesn't understand that the same motherfuckers that were spreading the Jews were still Israelites. but they kicked out niggas that were practicing so-called, I don't want to say Judaism, but practicing their Jewish ways.
That's it.
That's all it was. It was this black on black crime.
Of course it was.
Jake was wicked back then. The brother in your town brings that out all the time. Jake was fucking wicked as hell, man.
And what Brother Caleb said, your brother's going to be even towards each other. You know what I mean?
Because you had a whole bunch of people that didn't believe in Jews and that. That's why they were practicing Islam.
That's it.
You know? That's why he won't get it.
Fucking Christopher Columbus came back with a fucking, so let's say fucking interpreter. He did come back.
This is real shit, man. This is
Real shit, brother.
This isn't a game where... Look, man, we've been lied to from the minute we came out of our mother's womb by the public school system, talking shit to us about, oh yeah, Columbus discovered America, such a good thing. No, man. They're not public got to pay for what they do. Of course, man. Yeah, man. They deserve it too. Deserve it too. And this guy's talking about our copies. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's another reason why Esau can't respect you. Because you basically, that's why Esau will always be happy and confident because he knows that you niggas ain't up for the job.
Right.
Yeah, you ain't ready to do it, man. That's why Esau gets away scot-free. Because you niggas lack justice inside of you, man. He has to pay. This ain't about you and what you fucking do. You've got to do what's right. A man might not want to do something, but at the end of the day, he knows it has to be done. Exactly. That's what he doesn't want to understand, man. Esau knows within his bones that he has to pay. And that's what he doesn't want niggas to understand. He wants to keep niggas drunk on drugs, killing one another, gang affiliated. He wants all that. That's why he perpetuates that image.
Yes.
Because he wants that circulating.
Yes.
He doesn't want you niggas actually waking up, man.
No.
Taking a stand. That's his worst fucking nightmare. Oh, I don't believe in. That's how Esau wants you to be. He wants you to literally be just like that.
Just like
right
that,
there,
just like
talking shit.
He's a good example.
Acting like you know something, you don't know shit. Right? Really, you're a coward, man. You're not brave enough to stand out here and tell Esau to his face, you're going into slavery.
And it's beautiful again. The Lord brought up that man, that same so-called white man, to bring out how he thinks. The Lord did that. You know what I mean?
What? You know what I mean?
See that guy, he was a fool really because he came up there and he could have learned something. He didn't give him the name of the Lord. He didn't give him anything.
He didn't deserve because he was smoking a little cigar. You know that?
Yeah.
All of that, turning left and right, making an excuse to make the trek. Man, in the kingdom, he would have whipped, he would have stood here, man. Like, watch this and listen more. See, the thing is that he has something that he don't have. It's something far greater than what he has. It's called wisdom.
And wisdom will not enter into malicious souls.
It's called prophecy. We can tell him how he's going to be acting like in 1,000 years from now. He's going to have his head down. He's going to be sorry he ever talked shit to us. That's what we can tell him.
Coming up and blowing vape smoke in brothers' faces.
Yeah. This let me go have to close out because we've been out here for about over 4 hours now.
Was there any more last piece that's ready to bring out?
That's alright. I'll read this and I'll be done. I'll be done. There's Psalms 149, verse 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings, that's the main point, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahawah, man. That's the most beautiful part of life. That we're going to take their king as their prime ministers, their ambassadors, their councillors, you know what I'm saying? We're going to take all their governmental leaders. We're going to take their kings, we're going to take their sheikhs. You know, we're going to take them and we're going to bind them with what? It says, with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron. And it's an honor to do so.
That's right.
Why? Because they have done it to us. And the cup that we drunk from must pass on to them. Okay? So, and it might not be nice to actually harm other people. At the end of the day, it's an honor. It's a manful thing, a duty which must be done, irrespective of your feelings and your emotions. A man has to put them things to the side. That's right. You know, even at the risk of being called a monster, a terrorist, right? A dictator. A man's got to do what a man's got to do. And that's the scripture. Yeah? Because he's in his fucking feelings. I don't feel like, again, that's your feelings, that's your feminine fucking emotions. And you're not thinking in terms of integrity, man. You got something?
I just want to repeat that thing, right? 2 Thessalonians 1 verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Lord Yahawah to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you.
See that right there? See that right there?
Right? Righteous thing with the Lord.
This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 56, because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babylon, and her mighty men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken. For the Lord God of recompenses shall surely be quiet. The Lord God is the God of recompenses. That's the Lord God that is a real servant. The God of payback. You know? But with that, we're going to close out. Barak of the Yahawah, 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 Ba'ashem, Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Rakal Kodash, Kwam Yasharallah, Kwam Yasharallah, Kwam Yasharallah, Kwam Yasharallah. Shalom, Ba'ashem, Yahawah. Shalom.
Man. Sip. Shalom.